All right, welcome back to Backyard Cars, and today we're going to test and repair an alternator. And I know you're asking, why would we do that? Well, because we're cheap, and I'd rather spend, 10 bucks fixing this one than 70 or 80 buying a new one. So without avail, go get your popcorn and let's dig in. All right, look, we got you on the overhead shot, so we can go through this a little bit. Just kind of, you all know, when it's on the car and it's running, stick to ground, stick to positive, you should see like 13 plus volts. When it's not working, you're going to see less than 12.5. So in this case, this alternator was not putting out any juice, right? So there's a couple tests that you can do. One is that output voltage, and when it's not putting out and you know something's wrong, then you can jump in there and you can do a little bit of a further testing to try to figure it out, right? So high voltage typically means that your regulator's not working. No voltage typically means your regulator's not working. Or the diode, all those things. So you can again see, does it have a short by getting your continuity. I don't know if you can hear that beep. Continuity test. There should be no continuity between these pins and the case. If either one of these and the case, have continuity, you're grounded and your diode tree is probably fried. In this case, nothing. So, again, we got to dig in a little bit further now. So now we start disassembly. And I've already done some of the disassembly. We've already took the Gaduga gun out, zapped on this, got your nut off. The pulley and all just comes off. Sometimes they're kind of stuck, so you spray a little WD-40 on there and gently pry on her till your pulley and everything comes off. Get your 4 screws out. There's going to be parts inside there, brushes that pop out when you disconnect everything. I'm going at this one-handed, so it might take me a second. I've already got a lot of this stuff loose because I knew I was going at it one-handed. You really appreciate having 2 hands when you only got one. Alright, once you got the screws out, you can choose to do it however you want to do it. But it's got to come apart. So I like to slide the front cover off. That exposes me to everything inside without letting the brushes pop out just yet. Which they're coming out either way, so eventually you just got to deal with it. Alright, looking down inside here, all our springs appear to have popped up and out. One of the brushes, I don't know if you can see that in there, one of the brushes is out, but the other brush is not. It's stuck inside of the brush holder, I guess is what you call it. Can you see that there? Sure. That could be a problem. Obviously the brush being stuck down could be an issue, but we're gonna pretend like both brushes popped out. Okay? And we're gonna test our diode tree to see if any of that is messed up. Alright, so we've removed the 3 nuts on the bridge rectifier and the 1 screw from the voltage regulator so that we can get the ring out. And this should have continuity across all 3, and you don't want to see any of the copper enamel or anything broken or damaged or any of that stuff. Right? So you just take your ohm meter on continuity and you just check and be sure you got continuity. Everything's beeping. Everything visually looks good. So we'll put that to the side. Pull out your diode trio. And again, this should have continuity in one direction and not the other. And looking at it, I don't really see any real visual signs of damage. I'm sorry, we got to be on diode check. All right, diode check. Straight through, right? We got 465, 475, 477. Turn it around. Open, open, open. So the diode tree is good. Again, we're just going to do a diode check for the bridge rectifier. And this is actually two halves. There's a half here and a half here with little insulators that are in there. Alright, I just pulled the condenser off just to be sure we're completely isolated. Diode checking. Again, you should have continuity in one direction, not the other. That side's good. So now heat sink on this side. That tab's good. That tab's good. That tab's good. Swap probes. Nothing. 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 Alright. So our bridge rectifier is good. And then we want to check we got no continuity on our condenser, or that would be grounded. So the only thing left is the voltage regulator. And that one's a little bit tricky to test. It's a little more involved, so we're going to remove it. There's our regulator. These are our brushes. So when you've tested everything else and you know all the other components are good, you can just bet that the voltage regulator died. 90% of the time, it's your voltage regulator or your diode tree. So like I said, we've tested everything. So we're just going to grab us a new voltage regulator. We'll probably try to run that part number right there so we get the same one, but we're looking for a one-wire GM voltage regulator. Self-exciting. Out here in the sun is our case, which I wire brushed and wiped down, cleaned it up, and sprayed it black because, well, the silver didn't really go in the car. So it's going to be black now with this new billet pulley and fan. So now it'll sit down in there and be black on the billet bracket with the billet pulley. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so when the case dries and we get a new regulator, we will reassemble, most likely in the morning when I go pick it up. We're almost done. We're going to spend 10 bucks or 15 bucks and a little bit of paint and repair our alternator. Well, alright, we've, through process of elimination, determined that our regulator's most likely our culprit. I mean, we tested everything and we know it's all good, so we're going to start reassembly. Which, if I can do it with one hand, you should be able to do it with two. You just put everything back in the way you took it out. It's pretty simple, you know. If you need to see it all go back together, then you're going to have to watch the video in reverse. No, I'm just playing. I'm going to put it back together. Now, I do have a brand new regulator coming from the OO. Oh, really? And that cost me $17. So, just so you know. Now look, sometimes you would put heatsink compound between the diode trio or the rectifier board and the case, right? But in this situation, we are not GM is not using the case as a heatsink. This is the heatsink, and air flowing through it is what cools it. So you don't need to use heatsink compound for this, or your regulator. It's the same situation. The regulator is spaced up off the back, and there's holes behind it there, so that air can flow around it. So again, no heat sink compound is needed for the regulator when you're putting that back in. Throw your stud back in for your power output. Make sure the grommet's in there, you know, fitting in the square groove behind there, and everything's down there tight. And then you just tighten that nut down a little bit. I mean, we ain't got to go crazy on it. Y'all already know how the alternators work. On this side, you can grab the stud. You take the nut off, you can grab the stud right there and hold it enough to put a little torque back here to tighten it down. And you're on to installing the rest. Alright, so once you got your rectifier board in, typically you'd take your new voltage regulator and set it in place, and then get your brush holder together. And since I only have one hand, I didn't want to sit here for 20 minutes while you watch me fumble around. But this is what I like to do. And I'll take a piece of baling wire, and then I'll get my brushes and my springs down in there and hold it in and run the little piece of baling wire through it. And when you got them together, there's little dots on your voltage regulator. You get them all together, that's what you got. And you're going in the case with that, right? And right here, underneath the bearing, is a square hole. Right there. In that square hole is where this piece sticking out the back is going to end up going. And see if I can do this one-handed. The nerves in my left hand are shot right now, man. They're just tweaking out. And it really hurts. But I got to pick kids up from school and do a bunch of other stuff, so I can't take pain meds right now. Anyhow, that's how it would go in there. And then you got your piece of baling wire sticking out the back. So when you put the rotor back in, then you just pull that baling wire out and your brushes are back on there. Everything's lined back up. And now that you got it all back together, it's back on the car. And that, well, that's probably the easiest way to save yourself some money when you're messing around with the old cars. Not too bad for just 25 bucks worth of stuff in a little bit of time. Well, now we got that accomplished. We're going to end that here. And who knows what we'll work on next time, because I've got so much stuff to work on. But I appreciate you watching. I even appreciate some of your comments. Go ahead and go down to the bottom, do the thumb thing, like, subscribe, and check us out next time. Appreciate you guys.